Discipline equals freedom. It's a phrase that was made popular by Jocko Willink, and one I've heard countless times over the years. It's resonated with me ever since I heard it, but how could I apply it? How could discipline, something that people associate with rules, routines, and hard work, possibly create freedom? Surely freedom is doing whatever you want whenever you want. The older I've become, I've started to realize that those two ideas are not fighting each other at all. It's actually working together. I found that almost every freedom I've enjoyed in life has come after a season of discipline. Whether it was training hard, studying, saving money, or simply building better habits, the reward always comes after the work was done. It rarely happened the other way around. So today, I want to break down what I think discipline actually means, why I believe it creates freedom, and a few simple ways I've tried to apply it in my own life. I think we often misunderstand what discipline really is. We picture someone waking up at 4 o'clock every morning, training in the rain, or following some incredibly strict routine. While discipline certainly looks like that, I think it's much simpler than people make it out to be. To me, discipline is choosing to do what needs to be done, even when you don't particularly feel like doing it. When I was younger, if I sat down after school and finished my homework first, I could spend the rest of the afternoon playing video games without the feeling in the back of my head telling me I should be doing something else. And if I take the time to clean my house, I get to enjoy living in a space that feels calm instead of cluttered. If I constantly train and eat well, I don't have to constantly worry about my health every time I enjoy a good meal. If I manage my money wisely, I have the freedom to say yes to opportunities without stressing about every dollar. The more I thought about it, the more I realized the idea applies to almost every part of life. Discipline isn't taking the freedom away from you, it's creating it. And sometimes that freedom looks exactly how you expect it. Other times it comes in ways you never even considered. You might earn a promotion because people know they can rely on you. You might build friendships that last because you've consistently shown up for people. You might even discover a completely new opportunity simply because you were willing to put in the work when nobody else wanted to. I found that hard work has a funny way of opening doors you never planned on walking through. I think everyone should try and pursue it. The truth is, whether or not we like it, there is work to be done. Looking after your body requires discipline. Looking after your relationship requires discipline. Growing in your faith requires discipline. Learning a new skill, building a business, raising children, everything depends upon discipline. There's really no area of life where we can avoid it. The difference is that when we choose discipline ourselves, we get to experience the freedom that comes with it. When we avoid it, life usually chooses a much harder lesson for us. I've also come to realize that discipline isn't just improving yourself. It's about becoming someone who can better serve other people. It's a great thing to think about. When you're disciplined with your health, you have more energy to help others. When you're disciplined with your finances, you're in a better position to be generous. When you're disciplined with your emotions, you become someone your family can lean on during difficult seasons. And when you're disciplined in the walk with God, you're far more equipped to love and serve the people He's placed in your life. Discipline can help in becoming the best version of yourself, but it's also about becoming the kind of person people can rely on. There's one final thought I'd like to leave with you because I think it's the most important one. Something you may not even consider, but with the correct heart and mind, it truly is the most important one. When people hear the phrase discipline equals freedom, they usually think about fitness, finances, or building a successful career. Those things absolutely matter, and discipline will almost certainly reward you in those areas. But I don't think they're the greatest freedom we can experience. For me, the greatest discipline is learning to walk with God. Having the discipline to spend time in prayer, to read His Word, to turn away from sin and continually become more like Christ isn't always easy. Some days you feel like it and other days you won't. Just like any other discipline, it requires consistency long before you see the fruit of it. But unlike every other discipline we've spoken about today, this one carries an eternal reward. The discipline of faithfully following Christ doesn't simply lead into a healthier body, a stronger mind, or a more organized life. Not necessarily, right? It leads to the greatest freedom any of us could ever hope for. The freedom from guilt, the freedom from shame, the freedom that comes through the grace of Jesus Christ, and the promise of eternal life in the kingdom of heaven. Not because we've earned it through our discipline, but because Jesus first made that freedom possible through his sacrifice on the cross. Our discipline isn't what saves us, it's our response to the one who already has. And to me, that's the most beautiful example of discipline creating freedom. To wrap it up nicely in a big bow, the older I get, the less I think discipline is about becoming tougher or more productive. I think it's about becoming someone who can be trusted, someone who follows through on their word, someone who does what needs to be done, even when nobody else is watching. There are going to be mornings when you don't feel like getting out of bed. There are going to be days when training feels harder than usual, when your motivation disappears or when life simply gets in the way, and that's completely normal. I've had plenty of those days myself, but I've learned that discipline was never about waiting until you feel motivated. It's about making a decision ahead of time and honoring that decision, regardless of how you feel in the moment. I've also realized that freedom isn't something you stumble across one day. It's something you slowly build. Every workout you complete, every dollar you save, every difficult conversation you chose to have, every promise you keep to yourself, and every quiet moment you spend with God is just another brick being laid. Over time, those small decisions become a life that's stronger, calmer, far more stable than it would have been otherwise, right? So I think that's why I love the phrase discipline equals freedom. Not because discipline is easy, but because I've experienced the freedom that comes from it. The freedom of good health, the freedom of financial stability, of knowing you've done your best, the freedom of becoming someone your family and your friends and your community can rely on. Let me know, where would you like to be disciplined in your life today? As always, I'm Jaden Connolly, and thank you for watching.